this meeting to order.
You're late.
Very good. The first item of business on the agenda is a presentation of the auditors. Here we go.
Good evening. I'm Ron Smith. I'm the principal at RHR Smith & Company. This is the second year we've had the pleasure and opportunity to do the audit for the supervisory union, including your union high school. I'm here to say that you had our highest audit opinion that we can give as an unmodified opinion. Financially for the union, you guys are rock solid. You had a carryover balance of about $3.3 million, which is a little more than $125,000 where it was the year before, of which you used about $1.5 million to reduce your property taxes in FY17. This year that's about to end leaves you with a surplus of somewhere around a little shy under about $1.8 million. And last year was equivalent to last year. And largely that's been through some favorable revenues over what you estimated, but the biggest part of it's been through some of the your expenses not being spent, and you returning them back to the bottom line and reappropriating them for the next budget. And that's been the case for at least the 2 years that we've had business with doing. You guys have historically thrown $1.5 million, $1.6 million for tax relief, and the good news is you've been able to have some savings when you didn't need to use it. So financially, that's really put you in a very healthy position. Some of the talking points that we had during the audit this year were with your student accounts, both at the high school and middle school. Renee and I have spent much time, talking about some best practices. I know that there's a lot of endeavors going on right now at the high school and middle school for fundraising, and certainly there's been a lot of discussion regarding best practices and procedures, to do that, forms of fundraising, avenues, PayPal, things like that. We've had a lot of discussion on that, and we're actually coming June 4th, 5th, and 6th to do some pre-audit work for fiscal year 17. We'll be sitting down with all the principals in the supervisory unit, including the high school and middle school. We look forward to that.
Very good. I have a couple of questions, but I'd like to open it up. Any board member have a question? Ed?
How much would be a reasonable amount for us to have for a surplus?
It's dictated by law and statute. So the law and statute basically says whatever you have for surplus, you're supposed to reappropriate it towards tax relief or use it to go into capital. So the statute's pretty specific. So you have a capital reserve account in addition to everything I just said. It's about $611,000 as of June 30, 16. So as far as the practice, you're within the practice. You historically have thrown money at tax relief. The good news is that you haven't had to use it all. So you haven't depleted your fund balance anyhow.
Nice.
That's dictated by statute, and I would like to tell you 3% to 5% of your operating budget. Unfortunately, the statute doesn't dictate that.
Yeah, that's the percent I was looking for.
I'd like to get you
What would
there.
that amount to dollar-wise?
So on a $30 million budget, I'm just going to do some quick arithmetic. So about probably $1 million, $900,000 to $1 million. You're certainly all there. That's the lower side of it.
So we're way above that.
Yeah, you are.
That point. Thank you.
And we have traditionally been about that, and we've
Yeah.
used that surplus to keep our tax rate steady. And but anyway,
No, I understand that. I'm
very good. I just, I have trouble reading these financial statements, but on page 10, for instance, you've got 2 or 3 different figures for expenditure, revenue, and the amount of money left. And I just don't understand the difference. But we've got 1769, then we've got 1795.
So those are summary pages, Tim. The best place I would tell you to look for those is back in the detail. I always tell people, start from the back and read forward.
Okay.
And really, where the story really starts is on
16?
Page, no, 57.
Oh, 56. Well, maybe you could
59 and 60.
just, okay.
There's all the detail. There's truly the guts, of your financial year right there in more detail. All those are on the front pages. The first 10 are collapsible pages of the whole governmental-wide financial statements, and they include things like depreciation, some non-budget items that we have to put in there that our standards say. But this is really the story right there on those pages.
Okay, and the unassigned amounts that you put in here, are they specific amounts for different, or is that just a general estimate as to what those
Can
unassigned?
you just repeat the first part of the
The
question?
unassigned, what is it signed? It has restricted and assigned and unassigned.
Reading on page 16.
Yeah, so that page 16, so those are standards that our profession uses. Unassigned would be anything that this board or contractually or legally that you haven't had to obligate. Restricted or assigned would be for purposes like the board using money to reduce property tax relief. You having $100,000 maybe set aside to go purchase a school bus. You know, there are restrictions on that money, so we restrict everything of your total carryover balance. The remainder is the unassigned piece of it.
Okay. Okay.
This
and-
board has traditionally covered about $1.5 million of unassigned,
Right.
you know, for the 2 years that we've been doing business. We knew even before then, you know.
And you've mentioned it, but in your management letter, it was a general management letter to all SVSU. I think you cited 9 different areas in the student activity accounts that
Yeah.
you need to look into. And you had addressed earlier that you were going to meet in early June to go over those things.
Ooh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
We've met many times, even prior to us coming again in June. June, I think, is more of a pinpoint, you know, date, so we're going to start having conversations on some of the discussions that we've had all year long. But if there's one thing that I would probably say needs some attention and getting to best practice, and I think that Renee and the business office and superintendent's office is on it, is your student accounts.
Very good. And you will be able during one of those meetings to give them guidelines or some suggestions as to how you could improve those 9 different
Yes.
areas.
Yes.
Very good. Are there any other questions or comments? We thank you very much for coming. and-
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good. I'm going to be going back to Maine.
No, I'm going back to Burlington.
I'd rather be going back to Maine, I think. Thank you very much. Thank you. Do we have any public comments? Public comments? We can go on then to the finance report. We have a number of different items. The treasurer's report, we just need to make a motion.
I'll move it.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Opposed or abstentions? Then we go, budget status report is for your information. You also have in your packet, I think, the latest enrollment figures, which I find interesting. You can take a look at those. Are there any questions on any of that information that was forwarded to you? If not, we can go on there. We've got 3 items that need our attention. There is the roof at the high school that needs to be redone. There is the parking lot. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I wondered, the current enrollment chart shows that 875 students at MAU. Is that going to go down even more next year? Or what's the projection over the
We
next
have an
couple of years?
outfit, or the central office has an outfit that comes in and gives us long-term, Jim, maybe you can explain this better than I.
So we'll get another report again every year. They give us 10-year enrollment projections, so they always tell us that it's only really accurate through 5 years, but.
Right.
And if you remember last year, they did tell us that we were going to drop below 900. And then, I don't have that chart with me, somewhat stable. I think I want to say we did that report to you maybe last October, so I would think that you would have it again. I'll check on them, we'll do it again, but it's usually not October that we get that, but I'm not surprised to see it drop behind 900. That's what they told us to do based on what was coming up in middle school.
We should be,
We don't see it going below 800, but in the 5-year projection, and then start to slowly go up after there, but still, you know, if I remember correctly, it doesn't hit the 1,000 mark again, based on what's in the cohort groups coming up.
That's what I suspected.
do it, Ed?
Yeah.
Okay, we have 3, once again, we have 3 I'd like to take back in order. The Finance Committee did meet with Paul and go over these figures. Paul is here to answer any questions. The first one has to do with the roof that needs to be redone. We put in our budget approximately $150,000, let me get the right one, yeah, $150,000 to do that project. We have 3 bids from Doxy, Vermont Roofing, and Titan Roofing. Titan Roofing came in at the bottom end of that. They have done work here before. My understanding is they're also going to be doing some work at the CDC. They did work at the CDC 2 years ago or last year or sometime. A couple years ago, yeah. Okay, and it was all very successful. So our motion would be to accept the bid of $111,300 for Titan to do the roof and a 10% contingency fund that we hope we don't have to use. But Paul feels it's always a good idea to have that. So I need a motion.
So moved. Second, third,
Okay, are
fourth.
there any questions for Paul? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I actually did have one question for
Oh,
Paul,
yeah.
just to make sure that this is, you've worked with them before and you're comfortable with this particular group?
Yes, Titan Roofing last year, I also oversaw the CDC
Yeah.
roof that was done. Came in, I had no problems with their quality work,
Okay.
performance.
Okay.
They were in, mobilized quickly, we're done well ahead of timeline.
And where are they located?
At Albany's the main
Albany.
area. And their local sales rep is someone that's also had worked in this area before with other roofing companies.
Okay.
The
Great.
specs for those
Thank you.
bids are pretty exacting, and we're
Yeah.
using Firestone, this, that, and everything, and the guarantee or all that are pretty well set.
Yeah.
So if there are no other questions, all those in favor signify, oh, I'm sorry.
Quick one, is there a clerk of the works that we assign?
You're looking at them.
Okay, that's what,
It's not a what we'll have is MSK engineering, with Jim Secor is the project engineer, and I oversee over that.
Okay.
To do the day-to-day of the project management and make sure that the specification made, but as a customer, I'm also there personally to make sure that before any payments are done, I'm satisfied.
understood. Thank you.
If it was a larger scale project, I would then take it.
Anybody else? I can't remember, did we vote? All
No.
those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstentions or noes? None. Okay, we can go down to the paving project, which involves the middle section of the middle school parking area. Once again, we had budgeted $105,000 for that project, and we had 3 bids, and it's Weaver that was the low bid at, I've lost my sheet of paper here. What's that?
$727.55.
So it's under our budgeted amount. They have done work for us before. They're a local firm, which we very much, if at all possible, we try to use local firms. They are local. They've done work for us before. Paul's been working with them for a number of years. So I would accept a motion to...
So moved.
Once again, there also is a 10% contingency fund on that, just in case we run into problems, we have it for soon.
Second.
Very good. Any discussion, Ed?
Just a quick question, is that contingency part of the 105,000 budgeted? Or
Yes.
is that above?
No, that's what it was budgeted.
Okay.
We budgeted 105 for that, 150 for the roof, and each one is coming under that.
I was working in Schenectady last fall and didn't get to the
Okay?
budget meetings.
Okay. Well, I encourage people that are interested in that to attend the finance committee meeting. Paul gave a thorough explanation at that time of all these projects. So we have a motion on the floor. If there are no further questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Now, thank you very much. Now, the third one, I'm not really sure I can explain it, so I'm going to have Paul do it. It doesn't involve any money, so it's for us.
No output.
No output of cost, which all of you
You hired the last one. Oh, you did this? No.
I've got one here.
I was joking.
This is a project, as you can see, that is connected with Green Mountain Power. And the point of it is that if we do some of the things that Paul will explain, we can save money. Jim has had some experience with this at our finance committee meeting. He talked about it. That was in Massachusetts? Massachusetts, and very similar to this. So we have got somebody who has some direct experience. Paul.
And in January, I had an opportunity to attend a conference sponsored by Green Mountain Power, where several of my equivalents from other large districts across the state were invited up and to listen to a program opportunity that Green Mountain Power was offering. Specifically, it's a curtailable load program. So on the left side of the slide, just to break down, it's more simple terms, key definitions to understand is, on every month, our Green Mountain Power bill, the majority of our charges are energy charges and then demand charges. Okay? Where energy is the amount of electricity we're using over a period of time, measured in kilowatt hours. Demand, Green Mountain Power has meters set up where every 15 minutes, they take a snapshot of time of what our peak demand is within that 15 minutes as an average. So over the course of the day then, whatever our highest peak is, that becomes our demand charge. That's maintained over the entire month. And, each time a new, next highest one. And so that then whatever the most peak demand is for the month, that is what we're charged in our demand section of our bill. Okay? So that's how things operate right now. The curtailable load program is an incentive because Green Mountain Power on a larger scale is looking at their entire systems, and they know that there are certain days of the months during primarily the times of 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. In the winter and 12 noon to 8 p.m. in summer, they're going to have the largest demands on their system. So they're looking toward, as an incentive, large-scale customers, which would qualify. If we were able to shed load during those peak demand hours, we would have a different billing rate on our monthly bills that could offer us saving money. If you look at the chart, on one side is the high school, and the other side is the middle school. If you look at our demand profile over any given typical weekday, each of the schools, our peak periods are typically between 10 a.m. in the morning and 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So our highest demand charge is being charged with now is being done during those times. If we entered into this curtailable load program, those charges would then be charged at a lower rate. And if there's a curtailable event between the hours, typically of 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. range, when we're at our lower demands, that would then become our higher charge. So over the last 3 months, I was receiving monthly bills from Green Mountain Power providing that if we were in the curtailable load program, to show me what the difference would be between what we're currently billed at and how we could future be billed at. Each month, there's approximately $1,500 to $1,900 savings for February, March, and April. So extrapolated over time, I think an annual savings for the high school could be up to $18,000, in the middle school, $14,000. The other thing I'll receive is each day I receive a notice from Green Mountain Power for the next 24-hour period if there's going to be a curtailable event called. And I'll also look to opportunities to shed further load where I can in some of our systems. So Rutland School District entered in as of March, and so far they're having, if you want to talk to the counterparts, they're having a good success with the program. So I'm just recommend we enter into it.
Are there any, yes, Ed?
I always have questions.
Okay.
If we were gonna shed load, does that mean we have to have somebody manually go to a motor control center and?
I'll do most of it through our building automation systems. So like here at the middle school, if stuff is not already into unoccupied, there's not a major event, we'll need like our large ventilators or real unit ventilators running. With a click on the screen, I can set those into like basically a sleep mode for a certain period of time. And I can do that somewhat with the high school, not fully automated, but there is enough of the systems on. I can do that. Then the other aspect I'll always look towards is just work with principals and looking for their energy conservation. Just do anyway at the high school and middle school.
Could this at any point interfere with lighting, say, in the gymnasium during,
No, I don't see that.
during the basketball season?
I don't see it right now, just based on the load profiles, because
I don't see it either based on
even
the,
with those on, increase in demand, but it will not increase the peak yet, during the morning.
so you're recommending we join this?
As I understand it, there would be no outlay of cash from us. And there is no criteria they have set up to decrease our load. In other words, if we can't do it, we're not going to get penalized. That is right, isn't it?
What will happen is we will, say if there's an event call tomorrow, and whatever our peak load is during that event time, that's what's charged at the higher rate.
Okay.
So if I can shed more, it brings it down some. At the same time, it's not one that will have an increase on.
Very good. Well,
So Green Mountain Power is calling
Yes.
the event,
Yes, yeah.
which means they don't have enough generation to meet this
Traditionally,
demand.
for us, why this works for a school system is their peak load, their peak demand is usually where it's in
Right.
the summer months. So our demand is mainly because so many of our facilities are not air conditioned. We're not in that demand mode as they are.
And just after monitoring, like I said, the last few months, typically, on any given month, there's only maybe 1 to 1.5 events called. So it's, not significant.
so if we have a motion that says that we would like to join the curtailable lead load program, is that enough, or do you need more?
So moved.
Or you have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Is there a reason why the school board has to do this? Is this something that superintendent or building and grounds can just do on their own?
Do you have to sign a contract for this, Paul? No?
No, it has not been presented to the judge.
I don't think we would have to sign an agreement. And that might be why.
That might be a reason why. I'm going to say yes, but
Yeah.
I don't want to take the responsibility away from some people then.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Ultimately, we are responsible, and therefore, I think that we could be held negligent if it was something that had a potential to be harming to the school, either financially or in terms of its physical facility. So I can't answer that.
Okay.
Okay.
One last question. What's needed to fully automate the high school? I'm just curious,
Well,
and I don't know if you've conducted a study.
The short answer is that the backbone is in place, meaning there is a server with the main building automated system projects that we did my first year when I was at work. Jim Morrison had initiated when I saw through the completion. With that computer overlay in place, we're now connecting different control units into that system. It's a matter of, though, we still have a large portion of the high school needed at the entire 8495 wing and some of the original building that still have pneumatic systems. They're tied in to those, as far as scheduling, like occupied and unoccupied. I don't have a full control like I have at the middle school. I go to any given room, look at what the temperature settings are, and adjust them. We're working towards that.
right.
And like every year when we do some unit ventilator replacements, that's part of it. The other part of it will be replacing some of the old controllers on some of the main systems. And it'll just be something I'll look to continually over time. When the roofs are done at the high school, probably another 2 to 3 years from now, then we can look at entertaining a larger scale project to do major upgrades on some of those systems.
Ed?
Understood. Thank you.
All right, so we do have a motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Very good. So, Paul, will you ask them to have some sort of a document saying that we officially do this, and we'll sign it or do whatever we have to do? Thank you very much. We can go on then to consent agenda.
I'll move it.
Have a second?
Second.
Very good, thanks. Are there any questions about it? Yes, Ed?
I wasn't at the education committee meeting, so I will vote to approve everything except for that.
We didn't have an education meeting today.
No, the last,
Oh, the last one, okay. Okay, just the minutes. Fine.
so
You don't have to vote for it.
I'll abstain from the consent
Whatever.
agenda for that.
Okay, are there any other questions people have? We have a warrant that I'll be passing around. All we really need is just 2 signatures, if you wouldn't mind. So, just get on it.
And I did have a question on the consent, the nominations. I'm assuming that and I believe that it doesn't, but I just wanted to bring it up, the action we took on, was it Monday, essentially the hiring freeze does not affect these.
Anything that was already in the pipeline.
Okay.
And, you know, we still do not know, at least I don't know, and, what the outcome of the legislative
Right.
decisions will be. So any of these projects that we're doing, particularly the paving project, if we really ran into some problems, we could take another look at it.
Yeah.
All we're doing tonight is approving that if it goes ahead, the contractor can be notified, or will be notified.
Right, it was more about the nominations, which I'm fine with, but we have the motion now.
Right.
Yep,
Okay, we can go on then?
I think we have to,
All
okay, sorry.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Good.
Abstain.
Abstain. By the way, Richard could not be here, and what he will do, he will write up the minutes from the TV, from GAT TV's presentation. So when they come through, you can take a look at
And
it.
there's a sign sheet going on. It's got
Oh, that's,
to take attendance for it.
oh, that's very good. So we will have minutes for this meeting. Okay, policies, we have none. We have administrators report. Tim is going to, at a concert, so we'll excuse him this time. Glenda?
Yes. So first, I would like to ask Kristen Olmsted to join me. She has an award to present to the high school that we would like to do tonight. So Kristen, if you could come up. And probably the easiest thing to do is talking to her.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Kristen Olmsted. I have worked with EF High School Exchange Year for 5 years and have felt fortunate to be able to place students in this community for the past 3 years. I am presenting this award to the Mount Anthony Union High School on behalf of EF High School Exchange Year. This is a Global Education Excellence Award for the year 2016 and 2017. The EF High School Exchange Year Global Education Excellence Award is presented annually to high schools that demonstrate an extraordinary commitment to international understanding and global awareness. This award goes to high schools who excel at supporting exchange students, and Mount Anthony Union High School certainly does this. Our community has collectively welcomed and supported more than 10 EF students and many more from other agencies, integrating them into the school and making it feel like home. Perhaps even better than home in many cases, because our community offers a wide range of classes and experiences that students can only picture in their wildest dreams. This school board makes it happen for them. These students will carry lifelong images of the kindness and the warmth of this community with them all over the world. And Mount Anthony will always be their high school. This award recognizes the value of this effort, as well as the school board and administration's belief that exchange students bring beneficial experiences to our school and community. The award also recognizes the hard work of our teachers who welcome and support exchange students into their classrooms, sharing the opportunity for our community to learn more about our world, and for the students visiting us to learn more about the United States. I would also like to publicly acknowledge the important role that host families take on by welcoming exchange students into their homes and their families. It is a big responsibility to care for someone else's child, but a very rewarding experience, as some families choose to host again and again, expanding their family around the globe. For all the students who have passed through our hallways, and for all of these yet to come, I am very happy to present you with the EF Global Education Excellence Award. Thank you again for this opportunity to address the school board, and thank you for the support of exchange and U.S. diplomacy here at Mount Anthony.
Well, thank you very much. That's a great honor. Glenda, can we find an appropriate place, maybe Paul can help, so we can prominently display it at the high school?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, what we all gain from these programs and these students is just really beyond words. So we're grateful for Kristen and the great work that she has been doing. and the other agencies and the host families that make this possible. We've also, while we're on awards, you may have read in the Bennington Banner since the last board meeting that Mount Anthony Union High School was received a medal as one of the best high schools from U.S. News and World Report. We are ranked 2600th nationally, which out of all the high schools nationally, that's a pretty decent ranking for us. We were chosen for this award because of our improvement in standardized scores in math and reading, graduation rates, AP test scores, and proficiency rates. And I would like to say that this award is a particular testament to the incredibly hard work that our teachers and our students are doing in AP classes, getting ready for AP classes, taking more than one AP class, and doing well on the AP exams. It really enriches our community, and this really is a testament to the hard work that is going on there. So I wanted to make that part of things tonight. I also want to talk about a special event that is happening at the school on Friday. So every 2 years, Mount Anthony gets together with a high school in New Jersey. And this is through Lynn Sweet, who is our chorus program director. And a group of students collaborate on one musical production that we do once in New Jersey and once here. And so the New Jersey students will be joining us at school on Friday, and they will be spending the day rehearsing with Mount Anthony students for what promises to be a really incredible concert grounded in the music of the Beatles on Friday night at 7 o'clock. And I really encourage you to come. Lynn Sweet reported that 150 students are involved in this production, and it's the coordination of 2 music teachers across 2 states. And the students are committed enough to leave either New Jersey or Bennington. We went there 2 weeks ago. Bright and early in the morning, going down for this concert, rehearsing all day, and coming back. And so it's a wonderful trip, and the kids really look forward to it. So that's happening on Friday. And you won't see that happening again for another 2 years. Also, just a reminder to everybody, the National Honor Society induction is Sunday night at 5 o'clock at Sacred Heart. And we'll be inducting a bunch of students into National Honor Society, and it's a dinner, and it's a great evening. I would also encourage you to go to that. And finally, I have one request. There is a field trip that has happened every year since 1971. And it's the alternative program and the Quantum Leap program take a camping trip in Maine. And through this camping trip, they are culminating their social studies unit of study on economics. They have studied the economics of the Bennington community. They have been to New York City and have looked at economic structures there. And they go to look at economic structures in coastal Maine as part of this camping trip. They also kind of culminate their study of physical science on a high ropes course, and they look at forest succession while they're out there. Normally, this trip was planned by B.J. Woodard, and as you know, B.J. retired last year, and he passed the responsibility of organizing this trip on to someone who had never done it, and she didn't get the paperwork in on time to have it wind up on the consent agenda. And I'm wondering if you guys would mind signing it tonight so that this trip can continue and can go. It's going the first week of June.
Does it have all the required number of people?
It does.
It does.
Everything on the sheet was fine, but we received in our office on Monday. So I told the principal that if she wanted to make this part of her report tonight.
I certainly don't have any problem doing that. Do any board members have a problem doing it? Well, why don't we do that right
After,
now?
you want to do it right now?
Yeah, if you would just read off what the trip is and the length of time that it will take place.
The trip is 6-1 and 6-2. They go to Southern Maine coastal region in an aerial ropes course. They leave at 8 o'clock on Thursday, June 1st, and return on 10 o'clock, around 10 p.m. Friday, June 2nd. The trip enables students to gain hands-on knowledge and skills that can be applied to the classroom to enhance research and writing skills, critical thinking skills, and presentation skills. The hands-on nature of this experience is extremely helpful when relating real-life situations to what is taught in the classroom. Students have multiple options to explore areas of interest related to coastal living, including developing an understanding of cultural offerings, ethnic diversity, economy, and the sciences.
I
The
think
class,
that-
is that what you're looking
Yeah,
for?
but I think that's fine, I think we understand it, and Jim tells us that all the paperwork had been completed properly, it's just that the
It just was
timeline didn't allow
completed,
it to get here.
yeah.
So could I have a motion to approve the trip?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
One question, would this be of more value if it was increased to say 3 days or 4 days?
I will certainly pose that question to people. I mean, I
It
think,
just seems like it's a 5-hour drive to Maine, 5 hours coming back, and,
and they have a schedule that is really packed.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it just seems like there'd be more value in it if it was longer.
It might be something the education committee would like to take a look at, so
Yeah.
we learn more about it. It has been going on, actually, it's,
1971.
And since 1971.
right, there was a boys and girls program at a
Yeah.
They used to take, can't remember what his name is, but he ran the program and took it up to Maine and different spots. Anyway, we've got a motion on the floor. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? None? Very good, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Point to the board. When it's overnight travel or out-of-state field trips, come to the board.
Okay. Tim?
I just wanted to,
How was the concert?
they were good. We had guests from the Bennington School District, Molly Stark Monument, Ben Hour here performing with the Mount Anthony sixth graders, their spring concert. They did a nice job. It's a little toasty in the gym, but it's going to be warmer tomorrow, so the timing is good. Teachers were great. I'm sure folks found it a little more challenging to find a parking spot. It's a busy evening at the middle school. I just wanted, really a couple of updates for the board. We had Patriot Challenge Day last Friday, so if you read the banner in paper form like I do, you may have seen pictures of middle schoolers on the front page doing good things. I want to thank a very committed committee led by Katie Sullivan, Tracy Galley, and Amanda Mullen, and countless of helpers. This year's theme was board games. So if you're walking the grounds and you actually see checkers and, Battleship laid out on the grass and you're wondering, what is that? The committee built life-sized games around the campus, and students compete, participate as teams on their academic teams. And then we award various prizes, spirit, specific events, and then overall. I had the pleasure of being a judge for Chopped. I don't know if folks watch the Food Network. This is where they give you 30 minutes to prepare a meal. The challenge this year was to prepare an hors d'oeuvre, a meal, a dinner, and a dessert in 30 minutes. And it is amazing to be packed into the consumer science classroom or the kitchen with up to 60 kids, stoves going, knives flying, not flying, but knives. It's amazing. And I have to tell you that watching kids present, because they had to present the food to you, it was a terrible job. You have to eat. But kids talking about what their process of, how they cook and things like that. Obviously they're watching Food Network. A lot of these kids are. Because I had a sixth grader, as I walked by, I said, how many minutes left? And he said, we'll be plating in a minute. I had to go home and ask my kids what that meant for minutes to prepare. So it's a pretty amazing piece. But we had a beautiful day after what felt like a month worth of rain. It was quite a day outside. Only some minor scrapes and bruises from activities, and just a really positive day. So I was glad to see that the banner ran that front page, and we got quite a bit of positive coverage out of that. So we appreciate that. coverage. On a more practical note, this week we are providing map testing to our students, grades 6, 7, and 8. We do 3 days of testing. We use a delayed schedule. That should be our kind of final window of standardized testing for the school year, so we'll bid it adieu until the fall. Other events coming up as we near the end of the school year. The middle school chorus concert is June 5th. It'll be here in the gymnasium, and then the band performs the next night on June 6th. So I absolutely welcome folks. We usually have a big audience for that, and encourage folks to come out and watch that. And of course, 8th grade celebration. The culminating event for our 8th graders will be Tuesday, June the 20th. In the past, we've invited central office administrators and board members, and if you would like to attend, you can call Sarah Hollister in the front office, and she'll be glad to save you a seat up front. If you're one of those folks who doesn't want to be the focus of hundreds of people in the audience, and you just want to sit among the crowd, you'd be welcome to do that as well. We host that outside if the weather permits. If not, we'll come inside. We're on a streak, so we're hoping to be outside.
Thank you very much. And
That date and time again?
The 8th grade celebration is Tuesday, June 20th. And it'll be in the evening, and I'll be posting. I just need to finalize the starting time, but I think it's 5:30, 6 o'clock if I remember that. We'll be sending that information out.
Thank you.
we have a high school graduation is the 9th.
It is.
As the 9th, and it's been customary for board members that wish to go to that graduation to meet in the principal's office at 5:30, I think. And what time is graduation? Is that still right, Glenda?
I think that's right, yeah.
We'll get a notice out to you anyway, as to when. It involves, most of you, I guess, have been to one of those programs, and it's always a uplifting experience, I think, to see a lot of happy kids and see them get their diploma and big smile on their face. So we'll get that information to you. Yeah, are there any other?
Question, Glenda,
Yes.
that award you spoke of, we were 11 in Vermont, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not as catchy as we're number 1, but that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. It is impressive.
Well, Sophia is not here, so we will not have a report from her. The Education Committee, as most of you know, Tim Brown broke his leg playing softball. And
Baseball.
Oh, was it baseball? Okay, I'm wrong. Baseball, and he has been sidelined, and I guess that for some reason that I don't understand, he's on the disabled list, which means he really shouldn't show up for work, which I'm not really sure why, but that's what we've been told.
Although he has been cleared to return to work.
Has he now?
And he did a half day yesterday.
Okay. The superintendent, any other comments? Okay, superintendent's report?
Just wanted to give you, some of you had asked me earlier in the meeting, just let me announce this to everyone. So we'll be warning tomorrow an Act 46 study committee, the new SVSU formal Act 46 study committee. That meeting will be Tuesday, May 23rd at 7 o'clock at the CDC Assembly Room. It has been difficult to find a meeting time this time of year with both teacher negotiation, support staff negotiation, and special meetings. So that'll be, the agenda will be to organize the work plan for that committee going forward. So I don't anticipate it being a long meeting. It is 7 o'clock. We hope to do an earlier time going in the future. That's been a request from people on that committee, but support staff negotiations is 3 to 6:30 that night, so there are many that are involved, so it'll be after that, and it's long overdue. Clarify the question on, first let me thank you all for the great attendance we had at the special meetings on Monday. I know it was a short notice and it was important business that we got there, and I thank you all for agreeing with our recommendation to not issue any RIFs at this time, and that we felt that we have enough open positions that we have flexibility on the spending cuts that could be coming based on the legislative and governor's action. So we're looking at a total SU at over 430,000. Your share is over 200,000 cuts that would have to be made. You had 10 open positions between middle school and high school. So the ones that you moved nominations on tonight, we already knew they were in the pipeline, so we're holding anything after that. So I think we're somewhere in the 7 or 6 that are there. Principals have asked permission, or maybe a question about whether they should go ahead and conduct interviews, and I've given them permission to do that, to go ahead and move forward with the understanding that I will not bring any nomination forms forward to the board until we see what happens with the state budget and what impact that would be. It's important that we continue to move forward, or we may lose people, and we still may get people, that we complete the interview process, and then we can't actually offer them the job yet, that we still might lose them. But we're also going to lose, a lot of these positions have committees that take part in the interview, and we're also, if we wait much longer, we're going to lose the ability to have teachers take part in those interviews. So told the principals for now to go forward. I did hear from Senator Brian Campion today and from Representative Kyan Morrison. I thank them for getting back to me and keeping me informed of what their perspective, what's going on in Montpelier. So it doesn't appear that the House will pass the budget as the Senate sent it to them, but they are most likely in session to Friday. They have both said to me that by Friday, no later than Friday, there should be a budget sent to the governor. Any proposal for a compromise so far has been rejected by one side or the other, so not much progress to report, anything different from Monday when we met on Monday morning. So we'll continue to monitor it, whether they said they will send a budget by Friday, the latest, whether the governor vetoes it, as he has said that he would, whether that savings from the health insurance isn't there, we'll see. So no change in that at all. And that's it, other than we have the executive session at the end. It says for the evaluation of a public employee, which is one part of it, but an action today that I need to talk to you about, a disciplinary action against a public employee, so that would add number 4 under the executive session. So there's 2 items that we discuss.
Very good, very good. Any questions? Jim, I've just, yes.
Thank Mary Lee for the calls, for those of us who don't check our email 13 times a day.
So I should mention, thank you.
Yes, that's
Because I should mention, a lot of people put some hours in this weekend, including Mary Lee, and I felt guilty. On Friday, we were going to warn those special meetings for Monday. We need a 24-hour notice to warn a special meeting. And when we discussed with the legislators on Friday morning, it looked like there was going to be a Saturday session, so maybe we'd have some action and things would work, so we'll wait and see. Which, because we waited and nothing happened on Saturday, that meant on Saturday night I had to talk to Mary Lee and ask her to go in on Mother's Day morning and warn those meetings. So she should be commended for not only making those phone calls for those who might not check their email, but for going in early Sunday morning to the office to get those meetings warned. So that was a little above and beyond, and she assured me that her Mother's Day celebrations weren't going to be to the afternoon, so that I wasn't going to be. So, and we began today for Mary Lee's replacement. As you know, she's leaving us on July 30th. So we interviewed 4 candidates today, and we have 3 more tomorrow, and we're moving forward with that. And I did comment to her that it's, when we're replacing a teacher, we don't interview that teacher in their classroom, the replacement in the classroom with the teacher sitting there. And so it's a kind of a unique situation for Mary Lee that she's seeing this parade of people come by her who are going to be replacing her. So I at least did not have her call and schedule the interviews. I had an HR department do that, so I was trying to be courteous to her.
Jim, I have a favor to ask you. When there is some resolution, or at least we think there's a resolution to this budgetary, would you send a notice to
Yes, I
all
will.
board
Yeah.
members? It's hard sometimes to get the information that would be reliable. My report, I'd like, Carrie Bond has taken on an assignment that is often difficult because for such a long time, Nathan and others were involved in it. And this has to do with the food service program as well as the agricultural program. And I asked her if she would just say a few words about where those groups are going and what she's doing. So, Carrie?
Okay. Food service hasn't met yet, as far as I know, but we did have an Ag Land Committee meeting. Ron and I and Tim Payne and the sustainability teacher and a few other people from the community. A good group of people. We discussed the eventual need for replacing the greenhouse plastic and setting aside money for that for when that project becomes necessary. Some of the other things we talked about were the chestnut plot, the interest in pruning and caring for those trees, and I think Marshall Case is involved in that, and getting the students involved with that too, possibly with the Mosaic project. We discussed Harvest Fest and pumpkin planting, possible use of the garden space by Ben L., and other possible community partnerships that might help with middle school group projects out there so that the sustainability teacher has some extra hands. She was there and taking minutes and giving us her experience of what it's like to work out there. So it was interesting. It's, my first exposure to it. But it seems like there's some good ideas and some good projects going forward.
Good. We're always interested in knowing what's happening. Ed?
As a side issue to the greenhouse, that belongs to the CDC, and I asked about that a couple of weeks ago, and the CDC superintendent believes we need a memorandum of understanding about it, since the CDC purchased it on a grant, and technically they own it because of the grant, and we probably need a memorandum of understanding about who will maintain the thing as long as it's being used by
I met with
MAU and so forth.
I met with the CDC superintendent on that issue, so we are going to
Okay,
draft
I didn't know
that.
you would.
Yeah, that because their ag program has closed, which is what the grant was that they bought that under, they don't have a need for it, but because it was bought under a grant, they can't give it away, but they'll retain ownership. But they also don't want to be responsible for the maintenance of it, so that we have to draft that memorandum, but we don't have it ready yet.
Very good. Are there any other comments? Then I'll ask for a motion to go into executive session as described earlier.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
My understanding is we will not be coming back into open session.
We'll come back to adjournment.
We'll come back to the